Hey everyone, welcome back to Thoughts from a Bookworm. I'm Abigail Grace. Today we're going to be talking about The Princess Diaries, which, like everybody, I grew up watching The Princess Diaries. It's just one of those iconic movies like Clueless and Mean Girls. It's amazing. I did not realize for the longest time that it was based off of a book series. And then I was in Barnes & Noble one day and I saw Princess Mia, which is book 9 of 10, on the shelf, and I was like, oh, I wonder if there's any relation to it. So I picked it up and started reading it, and it was so different, but Mia Thermopolis, Lily Moscovitz, Michael Moscovitz, Michael and Mia were interested in each other, they dated in that book. So I was very confused. It didn't make any sense. And then I picked up the series. I don't know what prompted me to read the series, but I read it last year, the year before, for the first time, and it did take me a little while to get into because it's very different. It's first person, but it's written like it's Mia's diary, so it's literally the Princess Diaries, and it's her writing in her journal of what happened to her that day, what she's been doing recently. Sorry, my battery died. So how we're going to do this, because each book is very thin. They are not thick books at all. I can usually read a book in a day, maybe two, just depending on what I'm doing. But what we're going to do is we're going to kind of, instead of taking 10 episodes to talk about each book, so what I'm going to try to do is I'll film an episode for each book. The episodes will be much shorter because the books are very short, but I'll release the episodes either twice a week or maybe 3 times a week just to kind of get through the series super quickly, because I don't really want to be spending 10 weeks going through the series. Not that I totally don't want to talk about it, because I do. I really like this series now. But if you haven't read it, if that's not something you're interested in, I'm kind of trying to generate more reviews and more followers and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to talk about book 1 today, which it is very different from the movie. The first book is obviously where the movie came from. It starts with Princess Mia. She's told that she's the princess of this European country. She now is dealing with all the paparazzi and press, and she has a crush on this football jock, or I don't know if he's a jock or what, but Josh. It is interesting that some of the names change, Mia Thermopolis, Lily Moscovitz, Michael Moscovitz, Helen Thermopolis. They're all the same, but it's Mia's math teacher that her mom goes out with, and it's Frank Giannini, not what's the English or the debate teacher's name, Mr. O'Connell, in the movie. It's Josh Richer in the book instead of Josh Bryant in the movie. So there's some things that are different, but you can see the inspiration was there, but the movie is very different. I read the first book and I was like, wow, this is really different. And the rest of the series, obviously. I know there's a second movie, but I low-key don't count the second movie because I did not like the second movie. I have nothing against Chris Pine. I absolutely love him, but I was very mad that Mia and Michael were not endgame, which they are in the book, so spoiler alert. Starts out very much the way the movie does. It is set in New York, not San Francisco, and I think that the only reason they did that in the movie was a scheduling issue, that there was somebody, I don't know if it was an actor or a crew member or producer or whomever, somebody had something going on in San Francisco, and that's why they relocated to San Francisco. But the books take place in New York City, Manhattan. Another difference is that Mia's grandmother is horrible. She's so mean, she's manipulative, she's very tacky. She's supposed to be this wealthy, elegant dowager princess. That's kind of how she views herself, but she's very tacky, which is weird. And I don't know if it's just a generation thing where it's my generation views that as tacky, but in her generation that was not tacky. I don't really know. It was just very odd. Another thing is that Princess Mia's dad is alive, so he's not dead. The only reason that she is the heir is because he had I don't really want to say it out loud, but he had a certain type of cancer that left him unable to have any more children. If you know, you know. I don't mean this as a slam. I don't know how to say this, but I totally hear Emily Gilmore as the grandmother.
I want a plane, I'll buy a plane.
I don't think Emily Gilmore is mean or nearly as mean or nasty as Mia's grandmother, but I hear Emily's voice. When grandma speaks, I can hear Emily Gilmore's voice, which I don't know. She's not Julie Andrews, that is for certain. Book 1 starts with Mia writing in her journal. She's irritated at her mom for going out with her math teacher. She's frustrated that she's now a freshman in high school, that she doesn't really know anybody. She's very tall, she's very thin, she's not very girly, or she doesn't really perceive herself as very girly or feminine. She's not super like curvy, so she doesn't feel super confident in her body. She has a major crush on Josh Richer, who's one of like the I don't know if it's football or if it's, I want to say it's basketball. But he's he's a popular jock. Lana is there. She's, the protagonist that we love, or no, the antagonist, which Lana and Mia actually end up being friends, starting in book 9, which I thought was really cute. The one thing that was somewhat, like, irritating is that in book 1, Mia says that she's had a crush on Josh for, like, her whole life. And then literally starting right away in book 2, Mia says that she's had a crush on Michael her whole life. So I don't know if the author just took some, like, creative license. Oh, yeah, she's, a young girl. She's changing her mind. The guy who she has a crush on at any given moment, that's the one who she's had a crush on for her whole life. I don't know, but that did kind of irritate me that she was crushing after Josh in book 1 and then crushing after Michael in, like, books 2 and 3 and 4. So that was a little bit irritating, but it is clear that Michael has feelings for Mia right away in book 1, which I like that they kept that in the movie, because that is, like, I don't know if that's considered a trope when, like, one of them is in love with the other, but the other isn't in love back. I don't know what that would be called, but I really like that because it's, like, low-key really sweet. So it's Mia's dad who tells her that she's a princess of Genovia. Mia's very confused because she remembers studying Genovia in school, and she remembers that the prince of Genovia, because Genovia is a principality? I can't remember which, I'm pronouncing one of those bad, but it's where there's a prince, not a king. And she remembers reading that about the royal family and how none of their names are, like, she doesn't recognize, like, her dad's name as being the Prince of Genovia. She finds out her dad has, like, an alternate name, like his real name that he uses as Prince, but then, like, a second name that he goes by just, like, in general, so that's why she never knew about it. And then, of course, the rest of the book is Mia adapting to her new status as a princess, because she has to be the princess because, like I said earlier, her dad can no longer have kids, but he is still in her life. She starts going to princess lessons with her grandmother. She's kind of popular suddenly in school, but not necessarily in a good way. Like, people just now know who she is because it's leaked to the press. And then, of course, there's the school dance where she, like, wants to go to, but she doesn't have anybody who asks her. And then Josh asks her after publicly dumping and humiliating Lana. So the two of them go out. Josh kisses her. Mia, like, forces him away and runs to the bathroom. And then Michael, he doesn't come into the bathroom, but when she comes out, he's there. He dances with her. So it's like I said, you can definitely see the inspiration from the movie. And being somebody who I saw the movie first, because I genuinely just didn't know that there were books, it was very weird. I was reading the book and I was like, that's not how it happened. That's not how it happened. And then reading when I finished the series and then read it again. And then when I finished the series and watched the movie, my dad and I watched the movie the other day, it was like, oh wow, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. So it's very trippy, but I did really like the books. There are some topics that come up later on that I didn't like and that I kind of wish that were omitted, but we'll talk about that later. But that's pretty much everything that happens in book 1. Like I said, the books are not super long. I'm sorry this was somewhat of a shorter episode, but these next 10 episodes will be on the shorter side. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it to the end, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe so you never miss an episode.